Welcome to the Wellness on Tap podcast with your host, Dr. Debs Eastwood.
And then you, of course, because that's life.
It is.
That's life. You know?
But you did medicine as well, didn't you?
I did in Sydney, and then I went into medical research. And then when I came here, I went to King's and I did medical sciences. Then I went straight to the Radcliffe and worked at... Are we recording now? Oh, we're recording.
We have been for the past 5 minutes.
Oh, dear, I'm sorry.
No, you're not supposed to know.
Yes, and I went at the Radcliffe Infirmary and did my PhD there, my research there. And it was very huge at the time. It was European Prospective Investigation into Cancer.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
It was extraordinary and with an amazing team. And there was a lot of money because we were part of a huge European funding.
Any particular cancers?
Every cancer, but I was looking at different major deficiencies in the body and certain cancers and how they show themselves, which it all started, I suppose, when I was a little girl. And I remember reading somewhere in home economics, because I got a scholarship when I was 12 to an exclusive girls' school. I got a scholarship because I came from a very humble migrant family in Australia.
Was that in the UK?
In Australia. And I got a scholarship, and I remember going there the first day of home economics, and there was this poster up on the wall. Minerals are the source of all life. You cannot grow or function without minerals in your body. And I remember how it struck me, And I remember sitting with everybody, you would sit every Monday together, and I'd be saying, this person has testicular cancer, this person has breast cancer, this person has heart disease, but they've got plenty of minerals in their blood. Why isn't it? And then everybody would look, because everybody wanted to do good work. Everybody wanted to help people. That's what the funding was for, to see why people are so ill or why cancers keep. And they'd look at me. Yeah, that's a good question. We'd see certain deficiencies. There were certain zinc deficiencies that had an association with prostate cancer, vitamin B12 deficiencies with homocysteine and heart disease, and etc. Some of them you could put together, but generally speaking, we wondered what was going on, because here we are examining people and comparing it to Europeans, and not many people in Europe are malnourished. And then we'd compare it, say, with malnourished data, which there was a lot in India, etc. And we couldn't quite work out. So it was really eye-opening. And it led me then to go and look at some research in America at the Mayo. And it was there that people were saying, you've got to see Dr. Bernard Jensen. You've got to meet him. Most naturopaths stand on his shoulders, Debs. You've got to go and see him. He's extraordinary. And I'd heard some of his cassette tapes. That's how old I am. Cassette tapes. Yep, I've admitted it.
Me too.
Yeah, I had a cassette player and I'd heard him speak. And it was fascinating the way he put everything together. So I went to see him, and people would be wheeled in very, very sick. And he would do all sorts of amazing concoctions and all the rest. I still use some of what he's made for anal bleeding, within reason, within medical, restrictions to help. And I just couldn't believe it. And I traveled for 4 years backwards and forwards to learn naturopathy from him. And it changed absolutely everything. It changed everything for me. And that's when I thought, there is something going on. There's a correlation between what's going on in the soil, what people are consuming, what they think they're getting. So when I go and I see thousands of supplements on the shelf, and I still see that people are not getting that much better, you start to put things together.
Yeah.
You start to put things together.
Because there's so much rubbish out there on the market, isn't there?
Absolutely.
That might say, oh, it's this wonderful supplement X, but because it's been heat treated, for instance, the amount of supplement X in there is negligible.
Absolutely.
The processing of it to get it into that pill form. But it doesn't say that on the packet.
It doesn't. And they put excipients in there. They also I always say to people, how do you think it sits on a shelf? Hot, cold, bright lights, when they start off, they absolutely stink. They're grey and mouldy looking. To get them a colour where you can find them palatable, if you open it up and it stinks and it looks mouldy, even if you know it's good for you, you're not going to be that tempted to take it. Half the oils on the shelves are rancid, I can say it, because people have taken them off and tested them. They have to put excipients in there and also, but they have to put so little in that they don't have to mention it, because you have to have a whole shelf within a day. And it's a huge, huge problem that people are taking. It's a huge problem. And there isn't much in the soil. There isn't much in the food. We know we have a major selenium deficiency in this country. Absolutely, selenium, crucial for thyroid health, crucial for bowel health, brain health. Shall we go on? I mean,
that's one of the things I give people in my IVs.
It's phenomenal, isn't it? I always include a selenium in everything, especially my cancer patients. I don't even need to test it.
Yeah.
And even if I've tested it, you and I know most of the blood tests, blood is a carrier. Of course, it tells us something.
Yes.
But it's a carrier. It doesn't tell us what's going into the cells. And I use a lot of minerals in my work. And I mostly use nano minerals. I was telling you about them, Debs. I don't know if you've ever used them, or they are really phenomenal. They're made by the Health Factory, and I do write all the medical and do the consultancy for them. And I'm not here I come in with clean hands. I'm here graciously. Thank you for inviting me and having me to speak. It's just wonderful to be here. But I use nano minerals. They're in medical grade bottles for a reason. Medical grade bottles, everyone only allows infrared, ultraviolet, and violet light. To keep them as a nano, which has nothing to do with nanotechnology. A nano is a size of a small, small particle, and they're between 0.5 and 5 nanometers, which means they bypass the stomach and they're elemental. So let me just clarify that. Every other supplement you see on the shelf, even if it's in a liquid form, it's bound to a compound. That means the body has to liberate it in some capacity. So firstly, it has to go through an ionic process in the mouth, usually 27 of them. If it manages to have some form of liberation there, you've still got to get through the duodenum, the large intestine, the small intestine. You've got to somehow make sure that awful bacteria that desperately wants to live doesn't absorb most of it first, and everything else, because that's why a lot of people have iron deficiency. Their gut is so bacterial ridden from bacteria that's consuming all the iron. So we have to change the trajectory, the terrain of what goes on. And the nanominerals are completely elemental. They don't do that. You hold them in the mouth. They go through the soft tissue, the oral mucosa in the mouth. You can do it first thing in the morning. Don't worry about brushing your teeth, because the toothpaste will block most of the tissues in the mouth anyway. And bacteria is much, much bigger than 9 nanometers anyway. So when you hold it in the mouth for 30 seconds to a minute, and you swish it around, make sure it goes through all the soft tissues, then you swallow it. And the effect is extraordinary, because you have minerals immediately available for flight or fight. So I need magnesium now, probably need lots of things now, but I need magnesium now as I'm talking to you. My body needs magnesium just for the nature of what we're doing. So if I've got to start to liberate it from my gut, that's if I've had enough today, liberate it, well, my cortisol levels and my adrenaline is pouring out to compensate.
Yes.
So it's about regulating the endocrine system and making sure we don't have cortisol pouring out, that we have cortisol regulating so that we don't have inflammation in the body. So it's all about those regulations that we work. And I'm sure you work like that in your practice all the time with our patients.
I mean, that's what I love about what you do, is that it's all about providing the body with what it needs and balancing the processes that occur within the body.
Absolutely.
And helping the body to get rid of what it doesn't need if it's struggling in that department as well.
Absolutely. Do you know, Debs, that's so true, because the portals of elimination are where people struggle. And I did a talk last night for a group of menopausal women. They wanted me to do a talk. They were a mixture of trauma therapists, etc. And they all talked about this central obesity through menopause. And I talked to them about how the liver cannot cope with the estrogen. So it needs to dump it somewhere, and it usually puts it in fat cells. That's why often in menopause, we can't control our weight and all sorts of situations. But the main portals of elimination, as we know, the kidneys, the liver, that wonderful little gallbladder that does all that wonderful work that produces bile to help every organ in the body. So important. People say, I've had it out. Well, sometimes you have to have it out, but do try to keep it. It's so important. And of course, the bowel. The bowel, so important, those portals. And I work hard at getting those portals to work better. Sometimes I will give wonderful herbs, just lovely herbs like moringa and that to help collate the liver. But I use a lot of fermented chlorella. It is on another level. The one I get comes from Australia.
So what is that?
Oh, fermented chlorella is unbelievable. Being used, particularly fermented, because it strengthens it, and it's wonderful. But the fermented chlorella from Vitality, I mean, I buy it like you buy it, is wonderful. It's full of chlorophyll. It's full of protein. It energizes, it purifies the blood. I mean, it really does. Medical studies have shown that it does, but it also enhances and helps the liver by collating the chemicals that it can't cope with and helping the liver push them out.
Wonderful.
It's extraordinary. Dr. Debs, I use it a lot with my cancer patients.
Wonderful.
It is fantastic. And also it's wonderful if they've had chemotherapy or between chemotherapy, they don't know what to eat, they don't know what to do, they're sensitive to everything. So I have to really make sure that I'm giving them something that's giving them the protein, and it's just full of nutrients. I mean, it's chlorophyll. It's absolutely laden with nutrients, and it's very mild on the system, but it also helps the pH of the blood.
Wonderful.
And we're starting to know more and more now how important the pH is. But I also give a lot of magnesium. I give zinc. I tend to sort of ask patients that are on chemotherapy just to eat very well, laugh, drink lots of water, and let the body calibrate. Our body hasn't let us down for thousands and millions of years. It's not going to now. I believe in getting out of the way, just eating very well, resting, and then I can build you up after. They said, should I have this? I said, I'd rather you don't have anything. I'd rather your body just does what it needs to do, because we're not sure what competes with chemotherapy drugs. We don't know if we're interfering. And unless I've seen good medical research to show me, and actually some research has shown that if you give a lot of nutrients, especially magnesium and zinc and vitamin D during chemotherapy, often you can interfere and make it worse. So I remove it. I tend to remove everything. I do give chlorophyll. I do ask them to take lots of good bone broth soups and lots of nourishment and lots of things that they can eat. And of course, it depends what sort of surgery they've had. If they've had rectal cancer, they've probably got a stoma. So you're looking at something completely different. But I tend to work that all out. But also people come because they just don't feel right. They can't sleep. What's the normal? They can't sleep.
Yeah, that's so common, isn't it? Poor sleep quality nowadays.
Can't sleep, constantly bloated, don't know what to eat. They go on Dr. Google. They sit in front of me with Dr. Google. I said, it's very nice, lovely advice. Did you get that from a good hairdresser or nail salon? It's lovely. So why are you here? Because the truth is, there's a lot of information. There's a lot of misinformation.
Oh, yes.
And I'm not saying the information that I'm working from medical papers is perfect.
No, but it's had some effort put into it.
It has. It's had some effort. It's had a good team around it. It's been tested. It's had good research. It's been tested, and we know. And there's been a lot done now on chlorella, very good ferment, but also sourcing it. Be careful where you source it. Be careful the countries you source it from. I don't want to mention any countries, but some countries produce 80% of what we don't need. So what is all the off products of that going in the sea? So you could have an organic farm further down, but all that is pouring into it. So be careful where you source everything, everybody. Do be careful.
It's like my IVs.
Yes.
I source them from a UK company. that is fully compliant with all the necessary regulations, and they operate a closed ship in the sense that you have to be clinical and you have to have done their training to be able to prescribe and order their products. So you are controlled. They won't give it to just anybody. No. But they are completely open in that they have an open lab.
Isn't that wonderful?
So I can go down there and speak to the people making the products and see them in production, should I wish to. I've never done it, but I have that option available to me all the time.
I am so glad you say that, because how many people are training, because in this country you can give an IV in a hairdressing salon.
That just fills me with horror.
Me too. Absolute horror. And also, as we know, the quality, the quantity, and the duration of time, as we know with vitamin C IVs, that usually the people that are having high-level vitamin C IVs are doing it because they have certain cancers or certain challenges, health challenges, that have to be done under tremendous supervision. Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic with that. And it's really important. I go on about getting these into the cells, the purest form. Why? Because it will enter the mitochondria.
Yes, the powerhouses.
The powerhouse, the one that stores. Your mitochondria, if you don't rejuvenate it like a battery, it will begin to go. If you start energizing it, it will work for you. Absolutely. It's so important. It talks to everything, absolutely everything in the body. And that's why I use a lot of the nano minerals to top them up. They don't, and also they say to me, "Oh, shall I stop my normal magnesium?" I said, "Well, you need 4 pots of those magnesium for me to know that you're going to get something similar. But also you don't need much." I try very hard to make sure what they're getting is cherry-picked, goes into the cells, and then I make them change their diet and everything else in their lifestyle. Yeah. The thing is, though, Debs, is that I don't know, I'm sure you will understand totally. Often I spent months just pulling everything out of their system, stopping them from everything. "You don't want me to take anything?" I said, "No, because actually I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know how your body is going to work and respond. I don't know how your bowel works without laxatives in the morning and other mild laxatives in the night. So the ones in the morning will kick off, because we don't realize a lot of people just don't go to the loo, Debs."
I know. Scary.
It's scary, isn't it? And did you know there was an article recently in a very good medical journal that 37% of our children under 7 are not defecating. They defecate every 4 days. I'm worried. Debs.
I mean, when you look at the world that a lot of our children grow up in, a toxic environment in every sense of the word.
Yes.
Or even if it's only in 1 or 2 senses of the word. The food, in inverted commas, and I hate doing that, but it's true, isn't it? Yes. That, most people go to supermarkets. Yes, I'm generalising, but most people buy food from supermarkets and it's processed.
It is.
That's not food.
No, it's not food.
So there's no surprise, is there, that this is
food.
happening to these kids?
And I despair when I see children in the morning who are obviously deeply loved, well-dressed, holding a bag of crisps and a can of Red Bull.
Oh, please.
And you see it a lot. And I can't even begin to tell people what that does to the brain of a child. This magnificent brain that's still elastic and that's growing, what it does, let alone what it does to their teeth, to the microbiome of their gut. Now, I know the microbiome is the new big buzzword, but we've known about it for hundreds of years. We've known about it for years, how important it is.
Tell me your take on microbiome.
Well, I really believe that if you can enhance the quality of the gut, you will enhance the bacteria. Well, I mean, it's this term, good and bad bacteria, because we sell. It helps the food industry sell. But the truth is there's no such thing. There's just a terrain of bacteria that isn't serving us correctly. And it's so important to get the gut right. It's so important. But it does talk to the brain.
Oh, it does.
And some people even say that the microbiome is like human consciousness. because if you take the microbiome, you can see generations of who we are and how we began. So there's no doubt about it. I work a lot on the gut, but I also work a lot on the brain because I know that if you do not get the right nutrients, DHA oils, and for instance, I'm dealing with a lot of pregnant women at the moment, and I say to them, you do know that in the 3rd trimester, you need copper. Copper, they look at me. Yes, you need copper for the baby's eyes to develop, for its brain to grow, for everything. You must take copper. So I tend to give a wonderful nano zinc and copper because there's 10 parts zinc to 1 part copper, exactly how it should be. Perfect. We know that copper, through the magnificent Linus Pauling, God bless him, the work he did on nutrients is second to none. I think I've got that as my screensaver. So the mineral of the day appears. He did all that magnificent research.
Elegant.
He was extraordinary. We stand on his shoulders, and he taught us that actually the zinc and copper taken together will not only help iron, but open the red blood cells so you can absorb more iron, which you need a colossal amount when you're pregnant in the 3rd trimester.
Yes, don't you, Jess?
And often women have problems with iron supplements because it causes all sorts of dysbiosis, stomach problems, piles, all kinds of things, which can often happen anyway.
Yeah.
So I'll give this magnificent nano iron. Apart from the fact I ask them to drink nettle tea, obviously. If they're meat eaters, I'm not too worried. But if they're veggies, they tend to be not get as much iron. So
there's iron in nettle tea?
Lots of iron in nettle tea.
Wonderful.
And Debs, I will ask them to get organic nettle from a wonderful company called Detox Trading. I have no problems about advertising because they're wonderful, ethical, moral, extraordinary. They check all their batches. And I ask them to put a little bit of nettle tea. And actually, if you put the nettle powder into a little smoothie in the morning, it tastes metallic. You can taste the iron in it. Oh no, nettle's full of iron. It's fantastic. Full of iron.
I took, because I couldn't tolerate the iron tablets.
No, dreadful. But nano iron is incredible.
I didn't know anything about that at the time, but I was told about something called Spartone.
Wonderful.
Which is a liquid.
Wonderful.
It tastes like, not that I've ever sucked a bunch of keys or a handful of coins.
That's right.
And I just neck that in the morning. I could tolerate that, and my iron levels were never a problem.
Fantastic. But again, with that, you've still got to liberate the active compound, which is still a million times easier
Better
to
than
do.
The tablets.
Oh, no comparison, hardly any dysbiosis with it. Because a lot of your other products that are liquid tend to have a lot of stevia and artificial sugars in to camouflage the taste. And actually, that's the last thing you want when you're pregnant.
I don't want that.
You
this
don't
was
want
just mineral water, Spartone, isn't it? It's just mineral water.
It's fantastic.
We just neck it.
Absolutely fantastic. And you drink it straight through. It's amazing. But the other minerals I use is platinum and gold.
Ooh, now we're getting exotic
I
here.
have to tell you about them.
Yes, do.
Love the gold. A lot of medical studies have shown that nano gold particles help release the enzyme in the brain that repairs the myelin sheath. Ooh. And as we know with MS, the myelin sheath hardens. It's terribly painful with MS. The myelin sheath hardens and cracks. Yeah. That's why, and the nerves are exposed, and it's terribly, terribly painful. But if we're looking at the extreme with MS, I'm talking about extreme, but it's really occurring a lot more in this country now than ever before. And then we have Parkinson's and we have dementia, and they're all linked with this enzyme. Nano gold helps that tremendously. And this was nano mineral particles, and it wasn't the nano gold that we use, which is only in structured water. I'll tell everyone about structured water. We love it because you love hydrogen water like me. You love water. We must do a whole thing on water. You probably have. Yeah, I'm sure you have. How important water is. But it's in structured water, which is H3O2. H3O2 is produced in a plant just before photosynthesis. It's about to grow. It produces H3O2 so it can absorb as much light as possible so it can grow. And that's what we want. And it literally is elemental. And gold, of course, is fantastic for pain, anti-arthritis. Remember we used to give gold injections?
Yes.
Gold's fantastic for pain. It's a neurotransmitter. That's why they use these metals in phones, so that they can transmit.
Makes perfect sense. And I bet nobody's thought about it.
Nobody's thought about it. Of course, we're not reinventing the wheel. The ancient Egyptians knew about it. The king used to drink from a platinum goblet, etc. The only time you can't have nanoplatinum is if you're on chemotherapy drugs, because we know we use cisplatin. But you wouldn't be doing it anyway. You'd be coming to a good integrated doctor. You'd be asking, you'd be wanting to know what you can have. There's lots of other things you can't have as well. But I love gold. It's fantastic for depression. And of course, they use gold a lot in homeopathy. Our lovely Rebecca, dear friend of ours, is a great homeopath. She uses gold a lot. They make a remedy from gold for depression. But what it does is, like chocolate, gold. That's why a lot of cultures love gold. It's terribly beautiful. It opens up your third eye, because it helps with the dopamine in the brain and helps produce serotonin. So you feel wonderful on it. You feel amazing. I also use gold a lot, Debs, when people have had a lot of trauma. Because I work a lot, as you know, I work a lot on the body. I work through the nerves, through the fascia. And trauma is stored a lot in people's body. And even though they've learned to deal with it, they've learned to work through it, as we know, the body keeps score.
It certainly does.
Keep score of everything. And it can be trapped in certain parts of the body, not often the part of the body where the trauma existed, if it's physical trauma, an accident, an abuse, etc., a violation, etc. But it is stored, and the body will hold, the body will do everything we can, as we know, to keep that beautiful heart going, keep that brain going. So it will hold every part of us to keep that functioning. And I use a lot of nano gold, and we have the sprays as well, where you can spray it on the skin, because the beauty industry has known about gold forever, gold and diamond dust, because it mobilizes collagen. And wherever you mobilize collagen, you look fabulous. So we've known about it for ages. And we've got great sprays as well. But we also have I use a lot of the zinc and silver spray, especially I tell all mums about it. Fantastic antibacterial. If you've got a cold and flu, you spray it in, so it's just stops it from getting worse.
Yeah.
And we know about silver because we were using it on our medical instruments and using it on our bandages.
Silver nitrite.
Silver nitrite forever, antibacterial, etc. Silver, and then I want to tell you about platinum. Platinum's fantastic for the left and right hemisphere of the brain, but nanoplatinum particles have been used, fantastic stuff, great study coming out of Harvard University, where they're using nanoplatinum particles to help cancer cells.
How beautiful.
From growing. So they really are looking at that, and it's going to be some amazing research that's coming out. I tend to use platinum a lot when people they've just lost their mojo. Their energy goes shh, and they cannot get their energy back quickly. And they say that I just can't get up like I did. Fantastic for the left and right hemisphere, for the brain. Fantastic with ADHD.
So brain fog and cognition.
Unbelievable. But it must be used with magnesium. You take the magnesium first, because magnesium's the precursor. As we know, magnesium is the precursor for over 300 enzyme reactions. But you and I know that's all we can prove in a test tube. There's got to be more, because if you unwind us and we go to the sun and back.
Well, I'll tell you what, magnesium has become really popular.
Yes,
in my NHS job as well. And initially it came in, we were using it obviously in pregnant ladies that were what's called preeclamptic.
Yes.
So, because it's very good for the nervous system in that it will help to reduce the likelihood of having seizures from preeclampsia, which is the first time I came across it. It's good in things like asthma.
Wow, I didn't know about asthma.
Yeah, it's good in asthma to help stabilise the sort of brittle nature of what's going on in the lungs. It's also a really good painkiller.
I didn't know that, Debs. I've learned today. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I knew it was the pacemaker for the heart. It must be important, because every green plant, it's the molecule in the middle. And if nature says all of nature needs it as a molecule, just like iron needs the heme, then nature's telling us something.
100%.
I didn't know for pain, but that's extraordinary.
Oh, it's amazing.
But I know
and sleep as well.
Oh, sleep, fantastic. And I know for nerves and recovery, fantastic for sleep, fantastic as well if you really, really can't recover, your muscles can't recover after exercise. It's really good for helping you recover. But it's brilliant for everything. I mean, it's brilliant for everything. We are so lacking magnesium in our diet.
Well, nowadays, if unless there's a reason not to give it to a patient.
Yes, some genetic reasons. Yes, of course.
Then I give it.
That's right. Absolutely. Some genetic mutations can't cope with magnesium.
It used to be in the back of our cupboards and it'd probably go out of date.
Right.
Now it's right at the front and it's
so
one of the
glad.
most, it's almost, in the majority of cases, it's one of those will do no harm. Yes, of course, there's exceptions to every rule.
Of course.
But generalising, it's amazing.
It's incredible. Debs, nanomagnesium. This has been reported from my patients. This is why I started. A friend of mine, I was helping her with headaches. She had constantly had headaches. She was a GP, gives you headaches. Let's face it, it's tough. She has 6 minutes each person. It's not a complaint. This woman trapped in a room. She wasn't hydrating properly. I did a lot of work on her, but she still would get migraine headaches that were associated with her menstrual period, which can happen a lot to women, as we know. It can happen to men for other reasons, but for women, it can be hormonally driven, and hers was hormonally driven. We also had 3 generations of women in her family that have this. So, she really was on the back burner with this. Yeah. Grandma had it, mum had it, and she had it.
She's breaking the cycle now,
got
is she?
Mum's lovely blue eyes, but also got the whatever. And I tried everything and she was a lot better, but she knew that she'd have to start taking painkillers just before, so she wouldn't be in bed for a week. And I literally went into a shop, a lovely health shop near where I live in North London, and there was this beautiful bottle, this beautiful mirror glass bottle on the shelf behind. I said to the man, "What is that nanomagnesium?" He said, "Oh," he took it down. He said, "Madam." I said, "Please don't call me madam." But he took it down. And he said, "Oh, it's just come in. I'm going back 7 years. It's just, come in. It goes right through. It's the cells. It's elemental." I said, "Is this real?" Because I know about all this. Remember, now my brain's going back to Oxford University, part of the European Prospective Investigation into Cancer. Everything was like and whooshed me back somewhere. It really was.
And to your Sydney Med School.
Everything just pushed me back there. I couldn't believe it, Debs. And I said, "I'm going to get that." I bought it and I had her in mind to try it. And it was unbelievable how she was still getting mild headaches that she could cope with. Just take mild. And when COVID came, the story goes, she ordered 24 bottles. So she'd have a supply. The change. I was giving her magnesium, but clearly it wasn't working fast enough. And it was the missing link for her. But a lot of people comment that when you take nanomagnesium, how it helps your head immediately. Yeah. Of course, also you're in water, just hydrating. If you've got a headache, the first thing you do, everybody, may I just say, 90% of hunger is thirst.
I agree completely.
Can I repeat it? When people come in, it's thirst. They're not hungry. That's why magnesium's so incredible for blood sugar. When your blood sugar goes, magnesium, glass of water and some magnesium, immediate, almost immediately works as good as sugar. I'm not talking about when you're having an episode because you're a diabetic.
Yeah, that's different altogether.
That's completely different. Yeah. We're talking about unbelievable. And that's when I started to investigate. And I give a lot of nano zinc to help protect the prostate, because we know in medical studies how important zinc is for the prostate. Yep. We know how important zinc is for fertility. We know how important, like most of the cells contained on the ovaries and the prostate have zinc cells because it's for fertility. So we're starting to connect everything which is what we're hoping all the young ones coming are going to do. I work with a lot of amazing, amazing integrated doctors who are beginning to really connect everything together. And it's so important because there is not one disease that cannot be helped because the interconnectiveness and the interrelationship and the recovery within that process of a person recovering, there is a mineral that is important. There are several, but I promise you, I can say that with my hand on my heart, there is always a mineral involved that will be crucial, that will help break that nutritional deficiency and unlock for a human being. And that's what we do. When someone comes in and they've got terrible arthritis, we need to unlock how it began. We need to go back and see how it began. Because a lot of the medications are really temporary, and a good doctor will tell you they're not there to be used forever. They're not there to be used forever.
And they're not good for you, most of them.
And they attack the microbiome. They're not very nice to the liver either.
No.
They don't do the liver any favours. And as we know, the more and more people have, they plonk them on our tables. And a good third of them are because of the contradictions of the others. A lot of the blood pressure medications, often towards the end of the line, you get medications to help the kidneys because they are quite, they're known, contraindicated, some of them, years. Yeah. So, of course, they're necessary. If you get to 80 and all you've had is a blood pressure med, you've done really well. But often, if you don't start to look at it's a wake-up call, what's going on, it doesn't often improve.
It breaks my heart when, I go to see patients pre-op, or when I was still working on ITU, they get admitted to ITU and they come in with this carrier bag.
Yes, awful.
Of meds, and it just breaks my heart.
Me too.
I want to know, what was the first one and why did you go on it? But I haven't got time to do that in a pre-op situation.
No.
I just look at them and go, okay, without even speaking to the patient or anything else, heart problems, diabetic, just by looking at the medications that they're on. There are certain times that I might be wrong because, as you know, some medications may be initially designed for one thing.
That's right.
But we actually use them for another. Like amitriptyline, for instance, was initially designed as a tricyclic antidepressant, wasn't it? It was. So they give it to people with depression.
Yes.
It's not used for that anymore nowadays. It's used for
anymore.
Nerve pain, which they discovered with research in amputees. Because a lot of them got depressed because they'd lost a limb. And so they gave them some antidepressants and their phantom pain went away.
Of course. I remember reading. Fantastic, isn't it?
So that's what it's used for nowadays. And some of those meds that these patients are on, I can occasionally make a mistake.
Yes, occasionally.
I will always talk to the patient and I'll say, oh, you're on these for, epilepsy, for example. And they'll go, no, I haven't got epilepsy. I'm on those for nerve pain. Okay, good.
Right. Isn't that phenomenal?
I mean,
that's incredible. I mean, I deal as an integrated doctor and as a naturopath and as a clinical nutritionist. So normally people want to change. They want to. And as soon as I see somebody on a statin, the first thing I do is find out if they've taken any CoQ10 and vitamin E with it. Because it blocks that pathway. It blocks that pathway. So I say, not going to take you on the statin. Oh, can you take me off all these? I said, no. You're 55 years old, Mr. or Mrs. How on earth am I going to take you off all that? I will make it better. Let's see how your body performs. Let's see how your body... Because I also think, Debs, when people are on a lot of meds, it's like they've lost hope that their body isn't going to work for them anymore. Yeah. Well, of course it will.
They don't believe anymore, do they?
They don't. And there are stories of people being trapped in life and death situations where they've not been able to get to their meds for maybe a week or whatever, and they have been able to function. I'm not asking people to do that. I'm just saying that if you believe enough, there are certain medications, I do it over a long period of time. I try to find the root cause of why they're on this, especially as we know with pain. A lot of pain meds, you know it more than me as an anaesthetist, and you deal with it every day. A lot of pain is about managing it.
It is.
With breathing, with exercise, managing movement, managing what's painful and what's pain in your life. You know, who's painful around you. Come on, we all have those people in 100%. Our lives all the time.
All the time.
But all that is about managing it, especially when somebody has had MS and ME. And sometimes, I mean, studies have shown people with MS who have an animal to look after, the MS improves. You know, sometimes they go for days and they forget to take their meds. I'm not saying that's good, but they forget because they've got this, especially when the little animal's small and you've got to look after it. So there is a lot in there. There is a lot going on up here that we don't know about.
My girl's granddad had MS.
Oh.
He's no longer with us. And he was quite debilitated with it. But as soon as his first grandchild was born, because he was a really calm person by nature. He was a big giant of a man, used to be a rugby player, you know. And I can still see the look on his face when, you know, a fractious newborn, do you know what I mean? You've done everything, you've fed them, you've burped them, you've changed them, they're warm, they're da-da-da-da-da-da, and they're still fractious. Go to Grandad. Oh. And I can see his face with my daughter laying on his chest, fast asleep.
Isn't that incredible?
That man now, a lot of the time he felt like he didn't have purpose because he couldn't function the way he used to. He was frustrated as hell. Here, he was doing something.
Gosh.
Not only was it purposeful, but none of the rest of us could achieve it.
That's incredible.
It was marvellous.
Debs.
It was a beautiful
Debs,
thing.
That's incredible. Isn't that incredible? Something about the love of that child that triggered something within him.
It was beautiful.
That released some beautiful endorphin.
Yeah.
I mean, it must have released an endorphin because this is what children do, even when they're fractious.
Yeah.
We still love them.
Of course.
But the truth is, that's what that did. And for that moment, isn't that extraordinary?
For that moment,
story,
he wasn't ill.
He wasn't ill. That is amazing because that's what love and everything else going out in nature is supposed to produce, all these happy hormones. Yeah. And I always say to people, please learn to breathe properly.
Oh, yes.
We are all guilty of it. I go for a jog and I think breathe through your nose. Stop breathing through your mouth. Breathe through your nose. And there are gadgets now that you can put in your mouth to at least make you breathe through your nose for a certain period of time. And I say to people, just put it on for an hour or so, and if you wait, take it off, take it out. But they've shown more and more with medical studies how important it is to that deep breath that goes down deep into our lungs, how it releases so much in our brain. I haven't done a lot of it, but I've done quite a lot of James Nestor, I beg your pardon. Actually, I think the book's called Breathe, but it's free. He's free on YouTube. Amazing webinars on YouTube. Some of them are only 3 minutes long, where he just follows through with you. And you can put it on for free and breathe with him for 3 minutes. And that's the other thing that we're all guilty of. Do we stop in the morning and give ourselves that time to do that? I mean, we worry about our car, putting good petrol and all sorts of things, but I wonder half the time, a lot of women, as much self-care. And that's the first thing I teach. A lot of people come to me in an integrated way, self-care, apart from calibrating through how long it's taken them to get there. I said to one woman the other day, it's taken you 47 years. Can you at least give me a week for every year you've been on the planet?
Yeah.
Can you just give me a week?
Give me a chance.
And she looked and she said, yeah, you're right. I said, just a week. You've been there 47 years. Do you really think? Because they'll ask, don't they? How long do you think this is going to take?
Yeah. Oh, I'll just flick my magic wand, shall I?
Because, if we could all do that, I'd be surfing now in Hawaii, saying hello to Dwayne Johnson. But so I think we want everything very quickly. We want everything expediently. But actually, our body functions very differently. And anytime I have done things quickly and hurt myself, I wake up the next morning and I say, I know you're in a hurry. Can you do it slower? And there's an old Hebrew expression, as you get older, time goes quicker. That's why you need to do things in twice the time so it feels longer. And there's a reason for all these expressions because that's where injuries happen and you don't think. You just don't think. But Debs, I also believe very strongly in giving the stomach a rest. Nothing major, but if every now and then, if you can do it 4 times a week, stop eating at a certain time. Give it a rest. Stop eating.
Yep.
If you're hungry, have a cup of tea and an apple or something. I don't want you going to bed hungry because you'll only be up half the night. But have a good, and start with a good protein in the morning. Start with a really good protein in the morning. Be careful. You wouldn't buy a lovely car and put cheap petrol in it. So why on earth would you put it into your body?
Precisely.
You wouldn't, would you? You wouldn't.
No.
So start with a really good, take it with you or make a power smoothie. I love some of the protein, the moringa seeds. I get them to make it. I get them to mix it all and they put it into there. I use Okinawa. Okinawa is this magnificent coral from Japan, from the blue zone, where everybody lives to be over 100. And I've been there and they do. Not just because they've got each other and lots of companion. They do live by the seas. They have loads of iodine. They have loads of seaweed, which I know people by the sea, that's why the people in Crete live longer. You know, there's wonderful, glorious blue zones around the world. They tend to be sea-driven, but they consume this wonderful coral called Okinawa. And we sell it. Noble Naturals sells it. They have on it. But I use it all the time. I use it a lot with patients who can't eat. I use it a lot to get people off antacids. That's the other thing. A lot of people are on antacids.
And they're not a benign tablet?
Not at all. Not at all, Debs. Please do a whole, I'd love to come here, do a whole thing on how you can change some of these basic things that people take for granted every day that are sold. Well, they're sold to get you through a difficult period, not to be used all the time for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
They have their place.
We're both the same. We would never say to a patient who comes in with a carrier bag full of stuff, right, stop them now, because both you and I know that's dangerous.
Very, very.
Most things you need to wean yourself off if you've been on them for a long time. But some of them have less side effects on stopping than others.
They do. And the side effects are the body repairing.
Exactly.
So I always try to take people off antacids, especially when they tell me things like, oh, Dad and my uncle died of had stomach cancer and started off with an ulcer. I know what's happening. I know what's going on.
Yeah.
And my granddad had a nervous disposition. I've got it too. Everything is here. Well, I know what's happening. I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless you can address it. And I use Okinawa a lot. I use Okinawa, apart from the fact it's got that golden ratio of 2 parts calcium to 1 part mag, that beautiful ratio. Also, it's ionic, so 80% of it's going to be absorbed. A lot of these calcium tablets are not being absorbed. If you go down to the ocean, not only will you see not only will you be able to see all the recreational drugs when you test it, you'll scoop up a lot of these vitamins that are just going right through. They're just going right through.
Yeah.
You'll scoop them up. I mean, they've shown it. And it's got 75 micronutrients. So those little micro ones, they're called micro, which was a silly term coined. They were called micro because you need less, but actually they're more important. Zinc is just as important as iron. Even though you need more iron, it doesn't mean zinc isn't as important. No. It's just one of these things that when we're writing new textbooks, we're sorting all this out. And I'm hoping this will all be sorted out. The more we know and the more we can understand. And also the molecular weights, that periodic table.
Yes.
Zinc might have looked lighter, but you need less. But actually, as we know now, that doesn't mean anything because we know you need a lot less mercury and it causes a lot more damage. So that doesn't mean anything. So all these things are becoming more and more now as we're rewriting all these books again for the new generation that's coming. Well, actually, they're not even looking at books, are they? They're looking at these wonderful.
Yeah, but they'll all go online.
But it's all going online. But we're rewriting it, so it's all coming together beautifully. But and I use a lot of this Okinawa plus for bones, and women comment on their nails and their skin. But I take people off antacids by using it because it absolutely alters the pH in the blood. Alters the pH.
And that is so tightly controlled, isn't it? 7.35 to 7.45.
Perfect.
That is your
That's right.
blood pH.
And I don't know about you, but in the olden days, I can say it because we're of an age, we never would let anybody out of the hospital without checking their pH.
No.
We'd make sure that their pH was correct. Well, we have different monitoring systems now, more sophisticated in a different way, but there was a reason for it. And the pH, we know, is very important in the blood. I mean, I'm not saying go on all these alkaline diets. I don't believe in all that and all these exaggerated raw foods. But be aware of what's going on in your body, because something that you're eating or something that you're doing isn't working. Your body is talking to you. It's telling you, I'm struggling. I've got an issue here. Can we look at this?
Yeah.
Like anything, as we know, whenever I've had to deal with an illness, it's my body. It's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call. And if I want to listen, I can. It's not easy, like all of us, but it is a wake-up call. So I tend to use it. I love it. It's beautiful, this beautiful white powder, and you just put it into a glass of water and you drink it through the day. I ask people to make a smoothie with chlorella, and I use all these beautiful algae. And you're set for the day. You've got your DHA, your EPA. As I say to people, DHA, head up. EPA, down. Heart, lungs, everything. DHA, brain. Main constituent of the brain is docosahexaenoic acid, DHA.
There you go.
It's fat. It's a fat cell. That's why. And it looks like a gorgeous walnut for a reason.
Yeah.
Because walnuts have DHA. Debs.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Debs, they've made it easy for us, haven't they?
And we don't listen a lot of the time.
We've made it hard,
Yeah.
but they've made it easy for us, really. They've made it easy for us. But sometimes we think if it's easy, it's not real, I suppose. But it's not true, is it? It's not true. Because whenever you want to get well, you often simplify your life. What's brought on the illness? Stress, lack of sleep. And everybody do sleep. Please sleep. Try and sleep. How can you start the day after when you're still dragging the day before? The glymphatic system has to squeeze and expel the day before, and it cannot do that unless you sleep.
Correct.
And you know, when I told you I had that classic picture where I would show my patients a picture of a koala bear. Do you want me to go to Australia, Dr. Zoue? No, I want you to sleep. And nothing portrays it more than a beautiful koala and a tree sleeping. They know how to sleep. They know how to live a long time. They sleep all the time and eat those gorgeous eucalyptus. But the truth is, it's so important to sleep. And the sleep before 12 o'clock is very important.
Yeah.
People say, but I wake. I say, I don't care. Get that sleep in.
Yeah.
Get a couple of hours in. And the brain will squeeze out the glymphatic system. One of the most amazing systems of the body, isn't it?
Isn't it?
One of the most important, but
That
we
people know
underestimate
very little about.
No. And they have Wi-Fi in the room. Please get your Wi-Fi out. Please take Alexa out of your room. Don't let Alexa wake you in the morning. Get an old-fashioned alarm that ticks. And wake yourself in the morning and take your phone out of the room. Don't have your phone in the room. Just get it out of the room. Have one place where 5G is not invading you. That beautiful sacred space where you are free, free to sleep and free to do things. I always have a glass of water by my bed because it's just something I've always done. I suppose living in hot countries, born in Australia, you tend to get thirsty. And so I always have a glass of water. But the other thing is water. Drink a lot of it. Do drink it. And people say, I pee all the time. I don't care. Why can you not get access to a toilet?
Yeah.
Just do it. I mean, like it's something wrong. Or,
Yeah. I know. Oh, gosh.
And how much water should we drink? Well, I say to people, if you could get a lovely BPA-free bottle, which is that awful chemical, a really good one. Most bottles are BPA-free now anyway, sold everywhere. Fill it with 2 litres of pure water. you've got that wonderful water like I have, 2 litres of water, then you know how much you've had through the day.
Yeah.
At least. Because otherwise you don't know what you've had. I always carry mine around. I think I bring it home empty. I thought, regardless of what I've done today, I know I've had these 2 litres of water.
Yeah.
It's a good way
bottle.
of doing it. Yes, the green bottle, my famous green bottle. But it's great, isn't it? And you have that wonderful water.
Yeah, I do.
That water system. It's so good, isn't it?
Tyant water. That's what's in here.
It's fantastic. Debs, that's really good for the mitochondria, that water, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a good water system's everything.
Yeah.
If you can change your water system, I think a lot improves.
But it's fundamental, isn't it?
It's everything, isn't it? And there's so much in our water. There's so much goes on in our water that we can't filter out. So you've really got to get good water. And I know when we're out, we have to reach for plastic bottles, etc. I try to get glass bottles, but sometimes you can't carry them about. But it's what you do 95% of the time anyway.
Absolutely.
You've got to live your life.
Yeah.
You've got to live your life. But we know about D3. Most GPs now give D3. D3, as we know, is the hormone vitamin D. We know that every cell in the body has a receptor for it. That's how important it is. Hello, everyone. That's how important it is.
Yep.
And I tend to give a little bit of K2 with it. K2 is very important. K2 is contained in cabbage and things like that. And if you eat very well, then you can have it. I tend to buy organic when I can. I know some people can't always afford it, but have a look, because usually some products like carrots and certain things are quite reasonable organic.
Yeah, same. I buy as much organic as I can.
I do too, as much as I can.
And I find I can afford to buy a little bit more organic now because I've cut out a lot of the processed stuff that didn't fill me up.
No.
And wasn't filling me with anything good.
No, absolutely, Debs. And it's how important you can. And there's a wonderful company called Hunter Gatherer. And they do the most very reasonably priced, organic, high quality bone broth. And when I'm stuck and I feel a bit, rather than reaching for a coffee or whatever, I mean, I love coffee, but I have to limit it because I can't sleep. I'll put in hot water a bone broth. I cannot even begin to tell people how important it is. These bone broths, these broths from what's inside the bone, what's made. Fantastic for your teeth, for your bones, for your cells. Amazing amount of nutrients in a small glass. Because people always say to me, I don't know what to have anymore in meetings and things. And sometimes I go to offices to tell them, I say, you're going to get rid of that coffee machine now. That's out in meetings, out. And you're going to bring lovely bone broths and things in, and how people feel better.
Yeah.
They feel better. Yeah. Because actually, if it's there, I'll be the first to have it. I don't want to see those biscuits there, and I don't want to see that coffee there. I really don't. I don't mind an oat cake and some cheese or whatever, but I really think choices can be made very easily, and they're not necessarily expensive either.
I agree.
It makes a difference, doesn't it, when you cook your own food? Doesn't it make a difference?
Yeah.
And there are people say to me, I can't, where will I eat out? Well, I think I've sold more of those pret-a-manger salads with salmon and the vegan and vegetarian ones than anything else. They are fantastic.
Because they do research on their food, don't they?
They've got the most amazing nutritional team. I take my hat off to them.
Yeah.
Because officers that work late often ask me, and I say, get them to bring those in. And they must sell tons of them. I go on about them, but they are incredible. Everything's in there. Firstly, they're the rainbow diet.
Yeah.
Already I like it. It's
Yeah.
got every colour. That can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
No.
They've got red. They've got beta carotene. They've got everything. And then they've got either a beautiful piece of salmon, but if you don't want fish or grilled chicken, that's fine. They've got a wonderful vegan version, and not with white rice, a grain, an old ancient grain that's going to sustain your blood sugar levels. That's the other thing. If you can't sustain your blood sugar levels, Debs, you're just going to end up in an inflammatory state. You're also going to reach for rubbish anyway.
Absolutely.
Whenever my blood sugar levels go, I reach for something I shouldn't be reaching for.
Oh, yeah. It's important, isn't it, to keep it static?
Really, really important. Yeah. One of the main reasons I didn't become an astronaut and apply for it, Debs, because I knew they wouldn't allow me to have, I knew they wouldn't allow me to have olive oil. And I thought, I'm not going anywhere. I go, coming from a Mediterranean background, if you cut us, we bleed olive oil. We live on olive oil, Debs. That's what we live on. That's why we're so healthy. That's why Crete's in the blue zone, because of the olive oil and walnuts. I thought, this isn't going to go well. I don't think I'm going to be an astronaut.
No, let's not do that. So I think we need to plan forward and get our heads together and think of a couple of topics.
Yes, absolutely.
That we can do a deeper dive into.
I think so.
I think today we've done a nice surface
overview
level with bits of depth here and there, but we've done a surface level thing, and we know more about you now. We know more about what you do and how wonderful you are as a person.
Thank you, Debs.
So I think that's a forward-going plan, don't you?
I think it's wonderful, and I think so many myths about calcium and osteoporosis, and I still don't think people realise every day a woman dies of an osteoporotic fracture in this country. And yet they're given injections for calcium. So what's going on? I think there's a lot. I'm only thinking of the questions that are asked when people come into me.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're asked the same all the time.
Absolutely.
And there's so much to talk about. And I would love to come back. And I'd love to sit opposite you, because I have nothing but the greatest love and respect for you.
Thank you,
for
darling.
this. I think these podcasts are phenomenal.
Thank you.
Phenomenal, because there's also a lot of misinformation. And it's important that we produce with discernment the truth of what works. Doesn't work for everyone.
Yes.
It won't.
No.
It won't.
No.
But there is a lot of good science and medicine from hardworking people that produce good quality information that we can use, enough to last us lifetimes anyway.
Yeah. So we'll do that.
That'd be wonderful. And
so thank you.
And grow your veg. Thank you, Debs.
Thank you for having
today.
me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Yeah, thanks so much.